Do you get up at night, not once, not twice, but so many times you've lost count, only to feel like you never fully finish the job? Have you ever tried to explain that phantom discomfort, that deep, aching or burning feeling in your pelvis to a doctor, only to be met with a shrug and a prescription that doesn't seem to touch the real problem? If you're a man over 50 and any of this sounds hauntingly familiar, then you need to stop what you're doing and listen closely. We're talking about prostatitis. And for millions of men just like you, it's a silent epidemic of discomfort, frustration, and confusion. You've likely been told it's just a part of getting older, an inevitable consequence of time. You've been told to take the pills to avoid a few things and to just live with it. But what if that's not the whole story? What if I told you that the key to managing this condition, to silencing that nagging voice of discomfort, isn't just about what you add to your life, but what you take away? What if the greatest enemies to your comfort and well-being are not some mysterious medical condition, but a series of seemingly harmless, everyday habits? Habits that are actively fanning the flames of inflammation day in and day out. The power to reclaim your comfort, your freedom, and your peace of mind is far more in your hands than you've been led to believe. The solution isn't some far-off, futuristic cure. It's right here, right now, in the choices you make today. In this video, we are going to pull back the curtain on the 10 hidden enemies of your prostate. We'll count them down from 10 to 1, and I guarantee you, some of these will shock you. We will dive deep into what modern science and leading urologists are now confirming. This isn't just a list, this is your battle plan. So I invite you to stay with me until the very end, because by the time this video is over, you will have a clear, powerful, and actionable roadmap to start feeling better. Let's begin the countdown. Number 10, tight pants and jeans. All right, let's kick things off with an enemy that might be lurking right in your closet. Enemy number 10 is the modern obsession with tight, restrictive clothing. We're talking about those skinny jeans you thought looked stylish, or those slim fit trousers that you have to suck in to button up. You might think, it's just fashion, it's a matter of style. How can my pants possibly affect something deep inside my body? It's a fair question. We tend to think of our bodies as incredibly resilient, able to put up with our sartorial choices. But when it comes to the delicate and vital systems in your pelvic region, this assumption is dangerously wrong. Let's break down the damage. There are 3 primary ways your tight pants are waging a silent war on your prostate. First, and perhaps most importantly, is heat. Your pelvic region, by design, is meant to be kept slightly cooler than the rest of your body. When you squeeze this area into tight, non-breathable denim or synthetic fabrics, you're essentially creating a hothouse environment. Modern research has consistently shown that elevated temperatures in the groin area can be detrimental. While much of this research focuses on testicular health and fertility, the principle of inflammation applies directly to the prostate. An overheated environment promotes inflammation. Think of it like a piece of machinery that's constantly running hot. It's going to wear down, malfunction, and become irritated. Your prostate is no different. It thrives on balance, and you're throwing that balance off. Second, there's the issue of blood flow. Proper circulation is the foundation of health. Your blood delivers oxygen and vital nutrients to every cell in your body, and just as importantly, it carries away metabolic waste products. When you wear tight pants, especially when you're sitting, you are physically constricting the blood vessels that serve your entire pelvic basin. It's like putting a clamp on a garden hose. The flow is reduced to a trickle. This means your prostate isn't getting the nourishment it needs to stay healthy, and inflammatory byproducts, which can cause pain and swelling, aren't being efficiently flushed away. This creates a state of stagnation and congestion, which is a perfect breeding ground for the chronic inflammation associated with prostatitis. And third, there's direct mechanical compression. Those tight jeans are literally squeezing you. This constant low-grade pressure on your perineum, the area between your scrotum and anus, directly irritates the prostate gland and the complex network of nerves surrounding it. For a man whose prostate is already sensitive or inflamed, this is like constantly poking a bruise. It can trigger that familiar, frustrating ache, the feeling of fullness, or the sharp, jabbing pains that characterize a prostatitis flare-up. So, what's the solution? It's simple and liberating. Breathe. Opt for classic fit or relaxed fit pants. Choose natural, breathable fabrics like cotton or linen, especially for your underwear. Your style doesn't have to suffer. A well-fitting pair of classic chinos or relaxed fit jeans looks just as sharp, but it gives your body the room it needs to function properly. This single change can dramatically reduce the daily physical stress on your prostate. It's step one in calling a truce with your body. Number 9. Prolonged sitting. Coming in at number 9 is an enemy so common, so integrated into our modern lives, that we don't even see it as a threat. We see it as normal. I'm talking about prolonged, uninterrupted sitting. The desk-bound disease. The commuter's curse. You wake up, you sit down for breakfast. You sit in your car or on a train to get to work. You sit at a desk for 8, maybe 9 hours, with only a brief walk to the lunchroom. Then you sit on the drive home, and what do you do to relax? You sit on the couch and watch television for a few hours. Without even realizing it, you've spent 10, 12, maybe even 14 hours of your day with the full weight of your upper body pressing down directly on your pelvic floor and the delicate structures within it, including your prostate. We think of sitting as a neutral, resting state. The latest science tells us this is a dangerous illusion. For the male pelvis, prolonged sitting is an aggressive act. Imagine your prostate gland as a small, soft sponge. Now imagine putting a bowling ball on top of that sponge and leaving it there all day long. The sponge would be crushed, flattened, and all the fluid would be squeezed out. This is a simplified but accurate picture of what's happening inside you. This constant pressure does two terrible things. First, just like with tight pants, it drastically restricts blood flow. When you're sitting, the arteries that supply the pelvic region get compressed, and the veins that drain it get squeezed. This leads to a phenomenon known as pelvic congestion. Blood pools in the area becoming stagnant. This stagnant, deoxygenated blood is pro-inflammatory. It creates a low-grade, chronic state of distress in the tissues. Second, the direct physical pressure can irritate the pudendal nerve, a major nerve in the pelvis that plays a huge role in urinary function and sensation. Irritation of this nerve can mimic the symptoms of prostatitis perfectly, creating pain, tingling, and urinary urgency. Many men who are diagnosed with chronic prostatitis may actually be suffering from a condition caused or worsened by this nerve compression, all stemming from too much time in a chair. Recent studies using advanced imaging have shown a clear link between the number of hours a man spends sitting and the prevalence of lower urinary tract symptoms. The data is undeniable. The chair is an enemy to your prostate health. The solution isn't to quit your desk job. It's to break the cycle of uninterrupted pressure. The key word here is uninterrupted. Your body can handle sitting for a short while. It can't handle it for hours on end. You need to become a dynamic sitter. Set a timer on your phone or your watch for every 30 minutes. When it goes off, you stand up. You don't have to do jumping jacks. Just stand. Stretch your legs, walk to the water cooler, take your phone calls standing up. If you're watching TV, get up during every single commercial break. These micro breaks, these small acts of standing rebellion, prevent the pooling of blood and give your prostate and pelvic nerves a vital moment of relief. Investing in a standing desk, even for part of the day, can be a game changer. Your body was designed for movement, not for being a statue. Number 8, the hold it in habit. Our 8th enemy is a habit born of convenience, politeness, or sometimes just plain necessity. It's the habit of holding it in, consciously ignoring your body's signal that you need to urinate. You're in the middle of a meeting, on a long phone call, or engrossed in a movie, and you feel that familiar urge. What do? You clench, you ignore it, and you tell yourself, I'll go later. You might think you're exercising discipline, but what you're actually doing is setting up a cascade of negative effects that can wreak havoc on your urinary health. Let's look at the mechanics of this seemingly innocent act. Your bladder is a muscular sac. When it fills with urine, it sends a signal to your brain. When you decide to hold it, your brain tells the sphincter muscles around your urethra to stay clamped shut, but the pressure inside the bladder continues to build. Think about that. Urine, which is a waste product full of metabolic irritants like uric acid and mineral crystals, is being pushed into a place it absolutely does not belong. The internal lining of the prostate is not designed to handle this. According to urological research, This reflux is considered a primary trigger for the chemical inflammation that leads to chronic non-bacterial prostatitis, the most common type. It's like pouring a mild acid into a sensitive piece of electronic equipment. It causes irritation, inflammation, and pain. It can create a sterile inflammatory response that the body then struggles to shut off. Furthermore, holding it in for long periods can weaken the bladder muscle over time, making it harder to empty completely when you finally do go. This residual urine that stays behind can become a breeding ground for bacteria, increasing your risk of a urinary tract infection, UTI, which can then easily spread to the prostate, causing acute bacterial prostatitis, a severe and painful condition. The solution is profoundly simple, yet requires a significant mental shift. Listen to your body. When you feel the initial urge to urinate, treat it as an important biological signal, not an inconvenience. Make it a priority to find a restroom within a reasonable amount of time. Don't push it to the limit. Before you get in the car, before a meeting starts, before the movie begins, empty your bladder. This isn't about being weak, it's about being smart. It's about respecting your body's plumbing and preventing the back pressure buildup that is a known enemy of your prostate. Large or inflamed prostate, this is like adding insult to injury, potentially worsening symptoms of obstruction and discomfort. But the far more insidious danger lies in a phenomenon called intraprostatic reflux. This is a critical concept to understand. Your prostate gland is not a solid organ. It contains tiny channels or ducts that secrete prostatic fluid into the urethra during ejaculation. When the pressure inside your bladder becomes excessively high from holding it in, it can actually force small amounts of sterile urine backwards from the urethra into these delicate prostatic ducts. Number 7, hot and spicy foods. Alright, let's talk about food, because what you eat can either soothe or savage your prostate. Our 7th enemy is one that many men cherish, especially those who love a good kick in their meals. I'm talking about intensely spicy and pungent foods. The hot sauces, the chili powders, the 5-alarm curries, the wasabi that makes your eyes water. The common thinking is, I eat it, it goes into my stomach, and that's the end of the story. How can a jalapeno in my taco affect my plumbing? It's a logical question, but it misses a key part of our biological process: excretion. Whatever your body can't use from the food you eat has to be filtered out and removed. Many of the chemical compounds that give spicy foods their heat are not fully metabolized. The most famous of these is capsaicin, the active component in chili peppers. This directly triggers an inflammatory response. It can cause a burning sensation during urination, increase urinary frequency and urgency, and lead to a flare-up of that deep, nagging pelvic pain. Many men with chronic prostatitis can trace their worst flare-ups to a particularly spicy meal they had the night before. They might not make the connection, blaming it on something else, but the link is well established in urological practice. This doesn't just apply to chili peppers. Other highly pungent foods, like excessive amounts of raw garlic, onions, horseradish, or certain intense curries, can contain volatile compounds that are also excreted in the urine and act as bladder and prostate irritants for sensitive individuals. Does this mean you have to eat bland, boring food for the rest of your life? Not necessarily. The key is moderation and awareness. If you are currently experiencing symptoms, it is highly advisable to completely eliminate hot and spicy foods for a period of several weeks to see if your symptoms improve. This gives the inflamed tissues a chance to calm down without being constantly provoked. Once you're feeling better, you can try reintroducing them very carefully. Have a small amount and see how you feel over the next 24 to 48 hours. You are your own best detective. Your body will give you the feedback you need. You may find that your tolerance is much lower than it used to be, and that the momentary pleasure of a spicy dish just isn't worth the days of discomfort that follow. It's about choosing foods that create comfort, not conflict, within your body. To be excreted, this is the crucial part. Your urine is no longer just water and urea. It's now a concentrated solution carrying these potent irritants. Now imagine you have a sensitive, inflamed prostate gland, a condition known as prostatitis. The itis literally means inflammation. The tissues of your prostate and your urethra are already tender, swollen, and angry. As this capsaicin-laced urine passes through your urethra, which runs right through the center of the prostate, it's like pouring chemical irritant directly onto an open wound. Number 6. Consumption of alcohol. This next one is a tough pill to swallow for many, as it's deeply ingrained in our culture of socializing, relaxing, and celebrating. Enemy number 6 is alcohol. Whether it's beer, wine, or hard liquor, regular consumption can be one of the most significant triggers for prostatitis symptoms. The problem with alcohol is that it launches a two-pronged attack on your prostate. It's a double-edged sword that cuts you both coming and going. Let's examine both sides of that blade. The first attack is dehydration and irritation. Alcohol is a potent diuretic. This means it makes your kidneys produce more urine, causing you to urinate more frequently. This process flushes water out of your body, leading to a state of dehydration. When you're dehydrated, your urine becomes more concentrated. As we've already discussed, concentrated urine is loaded with waste products and is a major irritant to the lining of the bladder and the prostate. So that beer might seem like it's going right through you, but the urine it's producing is more aggressive and more likely to aggravate your existing inflammation. It's a vicious cycle. Furthermore, the breakdown products of alcohol, known as congeners, which are found in higher concentrations in darker liquors and red wine, must also be excreted in the urine, adding another layer of chemical irritation to the mix. The second and more systemic attack is inflammation. It is now a cornerstone of modern medical science that alcohol is an inflammatory substance. When you drink, it promotes a state of low-grade inflammation throughout your entire body. For a gland that is already defined by inflammation, prostatitis, this is like pouring gasoline on a fire. The alcohol circulates through your bloodstream and directly contributes to the inflammatory processes happening within the prostate tissue itself. It can increase swelling, pain, and overall discomfort. Many men notice a dramatic increase in their symptoms the day after drinking. They experience more urinary frequency, a greater sense of urgency, a weaker stream, and a significant uptick in pelvic pain or discomfort. They might attribute it to a bad night's sleep, but very often it's a direct inflammatory reaction to the alcohol. Recent studies have also pointed out that alcohol can affect the muscle tone of the bladder and pelvic floor, sometimes making it harder to fully empty the bladder, which can exacerbate symptoms of benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, that often coexist with prostatitis in men over 50. So, what's the path forward? The most conservative and effective medical advice for a man suffering from active prostatitis symptoms is to eliminate alcohol completely for a period of time. Think of it as a medical intervention, not a life sentence. Give your body 4 to 6 weeks of being alcohol-free. This allows the systemic inflammation to decrease and gives the prostate a genuine chance to heal without being constantly provoked. After this calm-down period, if you choose to reintroduce it, do so with extreme caution and mindfulness. Stick to clear liquors like gin or vodka, which have fewer congeners in small amounts. Avoid beer, which is a major diuretic, and pay close attention to how your body responds. You may find, as many men do, that the feeling of being pain-free and in control is far more rewarding than the temporary pleasure of a drink. Enemy number 5, too much coffee. In at number 5, we have the world's most popular morning ritual, the trusted companion of early starts and long afternoons. Enemy number 5 is too much coffee. For millions, a day without coffee is unthinkable. It's the fuel that gets the engine started. But if you're battling prostatitis, that fuel might be causing your engine to sputter and backfire. The primary culprit in coffee is, of course, caffeine. And much like alcohol, caffeine wages a war on your urinary system from multiple angles. It's a classic bladder irritant and a diuretic, a combination that can be pure misery for a man with a sensitive prostate. First, let's talk about its diuretic effect. Just like alcohol, caffeine signals your kidneys to produce more urine and to do it more quickly. This leads to increased urinary frequency. If you're already getting up multiple times a night, or you feel like you're constantly running to the bathroom during the day, caffeine is pouring fuel on that fire. It's artificially creating the very symptom you're trying to get rid of. Second, and more importantly, caffeine is a direct bladder irritant. In the medical world, it's known as a bladder-bothering substance. The compounds in caffeine can directly irritate the sensitive lining of the bladder wall, known as the urothelium. This irritation sends "gotta go now" signals to your brain, even when your bladder isn't actually full. This creates the sensation of urgency, that sudden, desperate need to urinate that is a hallmark symptom of prostatitis and overactive bladder. When your bladder is in this constant state of irritation and spasm, it puts more pressure on the surrounding area, including your prostate, worsening the cycle of pain and discomfort. It's a neurological irritation as much as a physical one. Furthermore, coffee is highly acidic. While the body maintains a stable pH, a highly acidic diet can contribute to overall inflammation. For some individuals, the acidity of coffee itself can be an additional trigger, exacerbating irritation in the urinary tract. The effect is dose-dependent. One small cup in the morning might be tolerable for some, but if you're the type of person who has a large mug to start the day, another mid-morning, and another to get over the afternoon slump, you are bathing your urinary system in irritants all day long. The solution requires some honest self-assessment. The first step is to reduce your intake. Try cutting your current consumption in half. If you drink 4 cups, go down to 2. If you drink 2, go down to 1. See how you feel. The next step is to push that first cup later into the morning and never have any caffeine after, say, 2 p.m. This can dramatically improve nighttime urinary frequency. The best case scenario for someone with significant symptoms is to try a complete caffeine detox for a few weeks. Switch to non-caffeinated herbal teas like chamomile or peppermint, or a high-quality decaffeinated coffee. Be aware that even decaf has trace amounts of caffeine. Many men are absolutely shocked at how much their urinary urgency and frequency calms down once they remove the constant stimulation of caffeine. It allows the bladder to finally rest and the signals between your bladder and brain to normalize. It's a powerful step towards regaining control. Number 4, constant stress. We're moving up the list to the more powerful and insidious enemies, and coming in at number 4 is perhaps the most underestimated saboteur of them all. It's not a food, it's not a drink, it's not an item of clothing, it's a state of being. Enemy number 4 is chronic stress. In our high-pressure world, we wear stress like a badge of honor. We talk about being so stressed out from work, finances, or family issues as if it's a normal, unavoidable part of modern life. But the latest medical research, particularly in the field of chronic pain, has revealed a devastating link between your mind and the muscles of your pelvic floor. For many men with chronic prostatitis, stress isn't just a mental problem, it's the primary physical driver of their pain. This is particularly true for the most common form of prostatitis, called chronic prostatitis, chronic pelvic pain syndrome, CPPS, where often no infection or obvious inflammation can be found. The pain is real, but the cause is elusive. The missing link is often the neuromuscular system. Here's what happens. Your body has a primal, hardwired response to stress, the fight or flight response. When your brain perceives a threat, whether it's a tiger in the jungle or an angry email from your boss, it floods your body with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This prepares you to either fight the threat or run away from it. As part of this response, your body instinctively tightens key muscle groups. We all know about tight shoulders, a clenched jaw, or tension headaches. What is less known is that one of the areas that tightens most profoundly is the pelvic floor. This is the complex sling of muscles at the base of your torso that supports your bladder and bowels and plays a crucial role in urinary and sexual function. In response to chronic, unrelenting stress, these pelvic floor muscles can go from being flexible and supportive to being chronically clenched, tight, and spastic. This state of chronic muscular tension is a disaster for the prostate. These tight muscles physically squeeze the prostate gland, restrict vital blood flow to the area, and most importantly, they can entrap and irritate the delicate nerves running through the pelvis. This creates a state of neuromuscular pain that feels exactly like prostatitis. It's that deep ache, that feeling of a golf ball inside you, that burning or tingling. The pain isn't necessarily coming from the prostate itself, but from the chronically tight muscles surrounding it. This creates a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle. Stress causes pelvic muscle tension. This tension causes pain. The pain, which you don't understand and can't get rid of, becomes a major source of stress and anxiety in its own right. This new stress causes the muscles to tighten even further, which in turn creates more pain. You are trapped in a feedback loop. Breaking this cycle is one of the most critical steps to finding long-term relief. This isn't about just relaxing, it requires active techniques to down-regulate your nervous system and release your pelvic floor. Practices like diaphragmatic breathing, deep belly breathing, are incredibly powerful. They stimulate the vagus nerve, which is the body's main off switch for the fight or flight response. Just 5 minutes of slow, deep belly breathing can begin to release the tension in your pelvis. Other proven methods include mindfulness meditation, yoga, specifically poses that open the hips, and Tai Chi. For many men, seeking out a physical therapist who specializes in the male pelvic floor can be life-changing. They can teach you specific stretches and relaxation techniques to manually release these tight muscles. Managing stress is not a soft, optional add-on to your treatment plan. For many men with chronic pelvic pain, it is the treatment plan. It's about recognizing that the tension in your mind manifests as tension in your body, right in the area that is causing you so much grief. Number 3, not drinking enough plain water. This next enemy is beautifully simple. It's not about what you're doing, but what you're not doing. Enemy number 3 is the habit of drinking too little pure, plain water. In a world full of coffee, soda, energy drinks, and juices, the simple act of drinking water has somehow been pushed to the side. Many people go through their entire day consuming fluids, but very little of it is actual water. This state of chronic, low-grade dehydration is a huge problem for your urinary health. You might think, if my prostate is irritated and I have to urinate all the time, shouldn't I drink less so I don't have to go as much? This is a very common and understandable thought pattern, but it's based on a complete misunderstanding of how your urinary system works. It's a strategy that will always backfire. Let's go back to the concept of urine concentration. Your body's primary way of getting rid of metabolic waste is by dissolving it in water and flushing it out as urine. When you drink plenty of water throughout the day, your urine is a pale, straw-colored, highly diluted solution. It flows easily and is very gentle on the delicate tissues of your bladder and prostate. However, when you don't drink enough water, your kidneys, in an effort to conserve water for the rest of your body, produce a much smaller volume of highly concentrated urine. This urine is dark yellow or amber, and it's loaded with a high concentration of irritants like urea, calcium, oxalate, and uric acid crystals. Now think about what we've already discussed. If you have an inflamed prostate, passing this super concentrated, irritant-heavy liquid through your urethra is like washing a sensitive wound with salt water. It stings, it burns, and it provokes further inflammation. This is why many men with prostatitis notice that their symptoms of burning and urgency are far worse when their urine is dark. They are essentially bathing their inflamed tissues in an irritating chemical soup. Good hydration, on the other hand, is a powerful therapeutic tool. Drinking enough water keeps your urine diluted, which soothes the lining of the urinary tract. It also ensures that you are flushing your bladder regularly and completely, which is your body's #1 defense mechanism against urinary tract infections. By constantly flushing the system, you prevent bacteria from getting a foothold and potentially migrating to the prostate. So, how much is enough? The old 8 glasses a day rule is a decent starting point, but a more personalized approach is to look at the color of your urine. Your goal should be to drink enough water so that your urine is consistently a pale, light yellow color. For most men, this means sipping water steadily throughout the day, not chugging a huge amount all at once. Carry a reusable water bottle with you everywhere you go. Make it your constant companion. If you find plain water boring, add a squeeze of lemon or a few cucumber slices, but don't substitute it with other fluids. Coffee, as we know, is a diuretic. Sugary drinks are inflammatory. Water is the clean, pure, essential solvent your body needs to calm inflammation and maintain a healthy urinary flow. It is the foundation upon which all other healing is built. Don't neglect it. Number 2, a sedentary lifestyle. Now we arrive at enemy number 2. And I want to be very clear, this is different from enemy number 9, prolonged sitting. Sitting is a specific action. Enemy number two is a much broader, more pervasive condition. It's a sedentary lifestyle. What's the difference? A sedentary lifestyle is the absence of movement. It's a life characterized by passivity. It includes the hours you spend sitting at a desk, but it also includes the hours you spend lying on the couch watching sports, the weekend afternoons spent reading a book for hours on end, and choosing the elevator over the stairs every single time. It's a fundamental lack of physical activity woven into the fabric of your daily existence. The human body, and particularly the male pelvic region, was designed for motion. Our ancestors walked, ran, squatted, and climbed. This constant movement kept the circulatory system robust and the pelvic muscles strong and flexible. A sedentary lifestyle is a direct betrayal of this evolutionary design, and it creates a perfect storm for prostate problems. The key issue here is stagnation. Think of a vibrant, flowing river. The water is clear, fresh, and full of life. Now think of a stagnant pond. The water is murky, still, and becomes a breeding ground for algae and bacteria. Your circulatory system is that river. When you are active, blood flows vigorously throughout your body, including the deep basin of your pelvis. This powerful flow delivers a rich supply of oxygen and nutrients that are essential for tissue repair and health. It also acts like a powerful flushing mechanism, efficiently carrying away inflammatory cells and metabolic waste products. When you lead a sedentary lifestyle, that river slows to a crawl and becomes a stagnant pond right in your pelvis. This condition, known as pelvic congestion, means that blood pools in the area. The tissues become waterlogged and deoxygenated. This low oxygen, high waste environment is profoundly pro-inflammatory. It creates the ideal conditions for chronic prostatitis to develop and persist. The body simply lacks the circulatory power to clean house and heal itself. Furthermore, a lack of regular physical activity leads to weak core and pelvic floor muscles, poor posture, and often weight gain. Excess body fat, particularly abdominal fat, is not just inert mass. It's an active endocrine organ that produces inflammatory cytokines, chemical messengers that promote inflammation throughout the body, including the prostate. The solution is not to suddenly start training for a marathon. In fact, some high-impact exercises like long-distance running or cycling on a narrow saddle can actually make prostate pain worse for some men. The solution is to reintroduce gentle, consistent, prostate-friendly movement into your life. Walking is the undisputed king of prostate-friendly exercise. It's low impact, it promotes circulation in the pelvis without jarring it, and it can be done anywhere. Aim for a brisk 30-minute walk every day. It's a non-negotiable meeting with yourself. Swimming or water aerobics are also fantastic. The water supports your body weight, eliminating impact, while the movement still boosts circulation. Stretching, particularly stretches that focus on opening the hips and releasing the pelvic floor, like the pigeon pose or happy baby pose in yoga, can be incredibly beneficial. The goal is to fight stagnation. It's about spending more time on your feet and less on your seat. It's about choosing movement over passivity. This change doesn't just help your prostate, it transforms your cardiovascular health, your mental health, and your overall vitality. Number 1. The modern inflammatory diet. And here we are, at the number 1 enemy. The biggest, most powerful factor that can either create a state of chronic disease or a state of vibrant health. Enemy number 1 is not a single food. It's the entire ecosystem of the modern Western diet. It is the inflammatory fuel you are likely putting into your body, meal after meal, day after day. Hippocrates was right over 2,000 years ago. Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. The inverse is also true. Food can be thy poison. For a man battling prostatitis, the standard American diet is a slow-acting poison. It is fundamentally, aggressively, and relentlessly pro-inflammatory. Let's dissect this enemy piece by piece because this is the information that can truly set you free. First on the list of offenders are refined carbohydrates and sugar. I'm talking about the white bread, the pasta, the white rice, the breakfast cereals, the pastries, the cookies, the sodas, and the fruit juices. When you consume these foods, they are rapidly broken down into sugar in your bloodstream, causing a massive spike in your blood sugar and a subsequent surge of the hormone insulin. According to a vast body of modern research, these repeated spikes in sugar and insulin are one of the primary drivers of systemic chronic inflammation. This isn't just about weight gain, it's about creating an internal environment of irritation that directly impacts your prostate. Second, we have the unhealthy fats. Specifically, we're talking about man-made trans fats found in many baked goods, margarines, and fried foods, and an excessive intake of omega-6 fatty acids found in common vegetable oils like corn, soy, and sunflower oil. While some omega-6 is necessary, our modern diet is overloaded with it, and this imbalance between omega-6 and omega-3 fats creates inflammation at a cellular level. It's like using the wrong kind of oil in your car's engine. It gums up the works and causes everything to run hotter and less efficiently. Third, we must talk about red and processed meats. This includes beef, pork, and lamb, and especially processed products like bacon, sausage, hot dogs, and deli meats. Multiple large-scale studies have shown a correlation between high intake of these meats and an increased risk of prostate problems, including BPH and prostate cancer. The reasons are twofold. They are high in inflammatory saturated fats, and the compounds formed during high heat cooking, like grilling or frying, are known carcinogens and inflammatory agents. Fourth, for some men, dairy can be a significant inflammatory trigger. The proteins in cow's milk, like casein, can provoke an inflammatory response in sensitive individuals. If you consume a lot of milk, cheese, and yogurt and are still suffering from symptoms, it is well worth trying a 30-day elimination to see if it makes a difference. So, you might be thinking, what's left to eat? The answer is a world of delicious, powerful, anti-inflammatory food. This isn't about deprivation, it's about a substitution. It's about choosing the foods that calm the fire instead of fanning the flames. Your new best friends are colorful fruits and vegetables. Think of a rainbow. The dark greens of spinach and broccoli, the bright red of tomatoes, which contain lycopene, a powerful antioxidant for prostate health, the deep purple of blueberries, the orange of carrots. These foods are packed with antioxidants and phytonutrients that actively fight inflammation. Embrace healthy fats. We're talking about the omega-3 fatty acids found in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. These are powerfully anti-inflammatory. Other sources include walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds. Olive oil and avocados are also your allies. Choose lean proteins. Think wild-caught fish, pasture-raised chicken, and plant-based proteins like lentils and beans. And swap your refined grains for 100% whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, and oats. The fiber in these foods helps control blood sugar and supports a healthy gut, which is also linked to lower inflammation. Making this dietary shift is the single most powerful thing you can do to change the environment within your body. It addresses the root cause of the inflammation that is driving your symptoms. It is the ultimate act of taking back control. So, there you have it. The 10 hidden enemies that may have been secretly sabotaging your health and comfort for years. From the tight pants you wear, to the chair you sit in, from holding back when you need to go, to the spicy foods and alcohol you consume, from the caffeine that jolts you, to the stress that clenches you, from the water you're not drinking, to the sedentary life you might be living, and all the way to the inflammatory food that sits on your plate. As you can see, the path to feeling better isn't hidden in some miracle pill or a complex medical procedure. It's in the small, conscious, deliberate choices you make every single day. It's about identifying these enemies and systematically removing them from your life. This isn't about being perfect. This is about being aware. It's about starting small. Don't try to tackle all 10 at once. Pick one. Pick the one that seems easiest. Maybe this week you commit to swapping your afternoon coffee for an herbal tea. Maybe you set a timer on your phone to stand up and stretch every 30 minutes at work. Maybe you make a conscious decision to choose water over soda at dinner. Each change, no matter how small it seems, is a profound victory. Each step you take is a step away from the cycle of pain and frustration, and a step towards a life of comfort, control, and freedom. You have the power to calm the inflammation. You have the power to soothe your body. You have the power to heal. If this video has opened your eyes and given you a sense of hope, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more no-nonsense health information that puts the power back in your hands. And now I want to hear from you. Your journey matters. Which one of these 10 really made you think, I need to change this? What is the one change you're going to commit to making, starting today? Leave a comment below. Sharing your story might just be the spark that inspires another man to start his own journey toward relief. Thank you for your time and your attention. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.